Welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. So glad you could join us. Thanks to all those new visitors, those new viewers. Welcome to you. A very special day at the end of a kind of a tumultuous month of June. And we've got a very special day planned for you today. Some awesome music and an awesome talk by my wife, Chamaigne. It will lift your spirits, so stay tuned. We miss you all. We love you. We feel connected. Let's sing our opening song together. Think good thoughts.
Wow, wonderful. I hear the applause all over the valley and around the world. I am so grateful to all of you who are love streaming services here at the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. We're so very happy to have you with us. My name is Linda Brewer, and we are a spiritual community where all are welcome to be part of our virtual community and services. And one of these days, we are knowing that you will be able to be back with us and be part of our services right here in person. Our practitioner holding high watch from home this morning is Jim Ferris. Throughout the service, he will be in prayer, knowing that the best and highest is unfolding for everyone as we share this sacred time together this morning. Our platform and prayer practitioner this morning up here is Farrell Zeman, who will lead us in prayer and share a lovely reading. Our center is a spiritual community that teaches a philosophy for daily living, based on spiritual principles and practices that are universal among religions. We honor every pathway by which people seek to know and connect with the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness so that we can help make the world a better place. We do have a vision, a mission, and a purpose statement here at our center, and every Sunday morning we like to speak together our purpose statement. So from wherever you are, I invite you to join us in affirming who we are and what our purpose is. We are an open, welcoming community, celebrating our divinity, loving our humanity, and nurturing our journeys of spiritual discovery. Thank you. Please don't forget to visit our website for all the latest information. We work really hard to keep that up to date on a daily basis, and if you will go there, you'll find lots about what we're doing, what's happening in the world, and our home office has been sending lots of wonderful things that we get to participate in. So that is at www.spirituallyfree.org. Our theme for this month is Mindful Mavericks, and we are so blessed to have dear Chamaigne as our speaker this morning. She just always does such a great job. I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Her topic is mindful action, and I can tell by looking at her this morning that she decided, well, it's casual Sunday, and I'm just going to dress down for the occasion, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Next week, we're so very excited to have Cameron Carver back with us to share his insights as we kick off July's theme of Unchained Spirituality. We do encourage all of you to sign up for our weekly email newsletter and regularly visit the announcement section on our website for the latest information from our center. The email newsletter goes out every Friday, and so it will tell you what's coming up. So the website does too. So please stay connected with us. And in these challenging times, it is so important to remember that we are a center that was founded on and is grounded in prayer. We have a number of professional prayer practitioners who are skilled in the art and science of affirmative prayer and are just waiting for your request so that they can be praying for you. Well, they're not waiting, they're praying anyway, but if you have something specific, if you'll let us know, we'd love to be praying for you this week. So you can find that link on the front page of our website and just email that to us. And if you'd like somebody to talk to, we'd be glad to have one of the practitioners give you a call. So thank you. And so right now, I invite you to allow Farrell's reading and the centering music to open your heart and prepare you to connect to that sacred space within you. And then Farrell will speak his word in prayer.
My reading today is from a little book named This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. I allow the divine wholeness to flow through me in ever-widening circles of activity. Every good I have experienced is now increased. Every joy that has come into my life is now multiplied. There is a new influx of inspiration into my thought. I see more clearly than ever before that my divine birthright is freedom joy, and external goodness. I realize that same birthright is bequeathed to all people. I rejoice that everyone has this common good. The divine presence interprets itself to me through love and friendship, through peace and harmony. Knowing that life gives according to my faith, I lift my mind, I elevate my faith, I listen deeply to the song of my being. I believe with deep inward calm that my word of faith is the execution of spiritual law in my life. I know that my word penetrates any and every unbelief in my thought. It casts out fear, removes doubts, and permits that which is enduring, perfect, and true to enter into my consciousness. I have complete conviction that my thoughts are not only true, but that they will be carried out in my experience with mathematical certainty. I have absolute reliance upon the law of good. I know that the Spirit, which is life, is present everywhere.
From the brilliant sunrise to the next day's dawn, I live on and on and on. Never think that I'm gone. I'm right here in the whispering pines. You can feel me inside if you quietly listen. And the love that you feel in your heart comes right through any seeming unreachable distance. I'm right here. I'm right here. There's nothing between us at all. Don't imagine there's boundaries or big tall walls. Call on love in a silent prayer. It takes only a moment, and I'm right here. I'm right here in the stars in the sky. You can feel me inside if you quietly listen. And the love that you feel in your heart comes right through any seeming unreachable distance. I'm right here.
right here and right now. I am filled with gratitude for this beautiful music that assists me in releasing the cares of the world, the fears, the worries, those things that distract me from the beingness that is truly who we are. I'm grateful for the music for carrying my soul to higher levels, to letting go of those cares and worries and fears. I'm grateful for this opportunity to meet together through video, that we are still one. We are all one together in our beliefs, in our love, in the presence of the divine that flows through us, that life-giving force. I'm grateful to be part of this knowledge and this moment. So in that gratitude, I call forth the love of God into each one of us as we listen to the messages and the music of this day. And in that gratitude, I gratefully release these words into the law, knowing it is so. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Farrell. Beautiful prayer. And I love when you read from this thing called You by Ernest Holmes. It's a very little book. Anybody interested or curious about our philosophy, that's a great book to get an impression of what we're all about. Wonderful book. I wanted to acknowledge that Leslie Monroe is back with us after a week off. Thank you, Leslie. And Mike Bowles is playing bass. We're giving Drew a day off today, too. It's nice to have Mike play with us. We invite you to sing with us again, a song written by Chamaigne Sharette. Words Are a Gift. Thank you. It's my privilege to introduce our special music today. Always a good time and just an amazing experience from one of our local just five-star musicians. Let's welcome Lorraine Horstmanshoff.
Thank you, Rick.
What's your name?
I've been called La Rainbow lately.
Oh, cool. Oh, I like that. The rainbow.
La Rainbow, yeah. For me, it's always good for me to breathe before I speak. It kind of happens automatically, but when we do it intentionally and drop into our heart space and cultivate that place of compassion, love, and understanding. Breathe, love. Breathe, peace. Love, breathe, peace. One love, one peace. Breathe, love, breathe, peace. One love, one peace. Thank you.
It's my privilege to introduce our speaker for today. My wife, Chamaigne Sharette, is a wonderful storyteller. She's absolutely brilliant. and her closet is full of many wonderful, colorful things. All of those outfits that support the wonderful stories that she tells. It's been wonderful sharing my life with somebody that has such deep experience and with enough introspection to really explore herself, and she gives it back in such beautiful ways. Chamaigne Sharette.
Thank you. Otherwise known as Chamaigne the Fairy Godmother. I never set out to be a fairy godmother, but it just happened. I was being myself, and one day I was in a circumstance where dozens of people asked me, "Are you a fairy godmother?" And I thought it was a good idea, so I said yes. And by the end of that day, it turned into an experience that would change my life. But before I tell you that story, my topic for today is mindful action. Mindfulness is, simply put, awareness. It's a state of mind in which you can think flexibly and respond to each situation with presence of mind. So being unmindful would be like being on autopilot. Maybe you've been triggered into a state where your habitual patterns are coming up, or maybe you're just going about your routines and not noticing the thousands of little choice points we have every day with our thoughts and our actions. Ernest Holmes said, "We are always in a state of action in our lives, the act of breathing, processing, sleeping, eating, yet we're not always mindfully interacting with our actions. What could our lives look like if we were aligning our actions with our intentions?" I love the teaching that you don't have to believe every thought that passes through your mind. You can pick a new one. You can shift before you create. So here's my story. Once upon a time, as a little girl, my obsession was princess dresses. But this was much to my mother's chagrin, as she was a feminist and did everything she could to keep me away from Barbie dolls and fairy tale books. But I wanted a fairy tale book so bad, I stole one from a friend. Not a very mindful action. I stole it right from out from under her nose. She was literally on my back, screaming, trying to wrestle the magic marker out of my hand, and I was scribbling her name off her book and writing my own in it. And I succeeded, but the penmanship left something to be desired. And afterward, I said, "See, it's mine, it's mine." But she wasn't having it at all. Neither was her mother. It was a very nice book. But her mother understood the plight of a little girl with no fairy tale books, so she convinced my friend to give me one of her older, less favorite books. I still have that book, and I know every gorgeous neckline and skirt poof in it. I was so desperately wanting poofy skirts that I would take the blankets off my bed and wrap them around a belt and tie that around my waist and prance around. As a teenager, I gave up poofy skirts for a little while in favor of poofy hair. Poofiest hair in that junior high school. But as an adult, once I got my first job and I had some money and I walked into my first vintage shop, it dawned on me, I could play dress up for real now. Every day after work, I'd walk home and I'd duck into these thrift stores and vintage shops, and I'd buy something every day. Most people spend their money on lunch. I spend my money on dresses. Lots and lots of dresses. Then I just sell them back when I got tired and buy new ones. I always had a couple hundred dresses. So I even developed a superpower. I noticed that if I would stop and visualize the exact dress I wanted, really specific dresses, I'd go into the store and there it would be. Only one of them, these are thrift stores, and it would be in my size. So I tried it out with my friends. I'd make them sit down with me and visualize the dress they wanted. And then we'd follow my intuition into the right store and we'd find it. Little did I know this was all part of my fairy godmother training, but I didn't know it yet. So one day I found the best dress ever. It was a huge lavender ball gown, and it had skirt poofs that were gathered up in the back in a bustle with lace. I was so excited, I woke up really early that Saturday morning to play with my new dress. And I did as I had as a kid. I took the comforter off my bed, put it around a belt, put that on my waist under the dress. But I wanted that bustle to stick out a little more, so I took an old worn-out bed pillow, folded it in half over another belt, put that around my waist. It was great. And then I put in some rainbow eyelashes, a tiara, and a magic wand from the dollar store. Now, it just happened that my mother stopped by my apartment that day, and when I came to the door at 10 in the morning on a Saturday wearing a giant purple ball gown and matching eyelashes, she said, "Wow, where are you going?" And I said, "Nowhere, I'm just playing dress up." And she says, "Whoa, that's tragic. You people have got to see this. I hope you recreate this one. It's the best one yet." After she left, I thought, oh, she's right. All dressed up and no place to go. How tragic. But was it true? Of course not. I lived on the kind of street where people would go to take walks just to see and be seen. So I said to myself, "Self, let's take a stroll." And so I did. I am so glad I skipped that automatic thought, all dressed up and no place to go, and chose a new thought and went for that stroll. It was a little shift that turned into a big creation. As soon as I started walking, I noticed I was having a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction. That pillow in the back really bounced a lot as I walked, and I heard this guy behind me say, "Whoa, so fat." I laughed, but then I was a little mortified. Does everyone think my dress bounces that way because I'm shaped that way? Can you imagine? It would be like one of those goddess statues, except animated, you know. And I thought about going home for a second, but I thought, well, what if I was shaped that way? Would that make me or my dress any less fabulous? I think not. So I held my head up high and I kept strutting around with my supernaturally gravity-defying backside and waved my magic wand at people. Another tiny shift that made room for a wonderful creation. Because then, you're not going to believe this, what to my wondering eyes should appear but a parade. I had happened to go out for a walk when there was a giant parade, and I didn't know about it. I asked somebody, "What is this?" They said it's gay pride. I had never heard of it. Gay pride, okay. And I'm watching, and these people are all dressed as colorfully as I am. I'm like, and then I saw people I knew, and their banner, they were all wearing the exact same shade of lavender I was, and their banner read, "Gay Wiccans." One of them came up to me and said, "Walk with us." I said, "But I'm not gay." "So?" "But I'm not a witch." "So?" "You look great. You fit right in. Come on." And so I joined that parade. So I had a little help with that shift, and I stepped into a creation full of possibility at the end of the parade route at Volunteer Park in Seattle, a huge park with grassy hills and huge trees and the kind of landscaping that people come just to see the flowers. Somebody walked up to me and said, "Are you a fairy godmother?" I said, "Yes." "Do you grant wishes?" "Yes." And I made something up. So I'm so glad I had the presence of mind to see that as an invitation. This happened so many times that day that by the end of the day, I had worked out this whole positive visualization kind of fairy blessing thing. I stayed all day. I was so blissed out. And at the end of the day, I'm alone on top of a grassy hill with my arms out, spinning and spinning and spinning, and the world is spinning in my eyes. And then I see something white. And close to me, I stop and wait for the world to stop spinning. And there she was, holding out a white lily with a long stem and a big grin. And she said, "You're fabulous." I said, "So are you." She said, "Can I have your number?" I said, "I'm not gay." She said, "So?" and we became great friends. I'm so glad she overcame my first thought. I thought I was the last person at the park, but I started home and I ran into a young man. He asked if I would grant his wish, and I confidently said yes. I said, close your eyes and imagine your fondest wish. Hold it in your heart. See how it feels, how it makes you happy. And every time you inhale, imagine all the things that need to happen for this wish to come true, just falling into your life, falling into place. And every time you exhale, imagine all the obstacles and perceived obstacles just floating away. And if you do this 3 times a day between meals, you'll find that you can almost hear the winds of creation. And on those winds, the fairies frolic and laugh. Can you hear them now? And I waved a little tinkle bell in his ear, and I said, they're giggling because they have a secret. They know that it's not fairies that make wishes come true. It's the love in your heart that does that. You must always remember, wishing is not so much a matter of asking as it is of believing. And may all your wishes be blessed. And I tapped him on the head. When he opened his eyes, tears got dislodged from his eyelashes and fell down his cheeks. He said, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. I said, oh, thank you. And he says, no, I really want you to hear something. Can I tell you something? I just found out I have AIDS, and it's pretty serious. I don't have long to live. And it just seems so pointless. I mean, I'm only 23. And so my wish was for a cure for AIDS. There are so many people I know that are getting it, and they're good people. And I used to believe in God, but how could he be letting this happen? He said, if I could live, I would spend my whole life fighting for a cure. And I wish if I'm going to die that somehow my dying could mean that nobody else would have to go through this. But as it is, it just seems so pointless. But then when you said that thing about believing, I felt it. Of course they'll find a cure. They always find a cure for something, everything eventually, right? And that makes me really happy to think about. And then he looked at me, he says, you're about my age. You're going to be alive when they find a cure. Will you promise me something? Promise me, when they find a cure, you'll remember me and you'll be happy for me that my wish came true. I told him, he started to cry, and I just put my arms around him, and he cried for a while. I told him, of course, I promise. And when he was done crying, I said, I'm going to remember you for the rest of my life, not just because I promised, but you've changed my life too. And he said, I have? I said, yeah. I told him about my magical day and how I had just become a fairy godmother that day, and it was so fun. But because of him, right now in this moment, I decided I'm a real fairy godmother, and this is a real magic wand. And I'm going to keep giving people fairy blessings, and you're going to be a part of every single one of them. I asked him to hold my star wand in his hand like this and give all of his love to it so that anybody's forehead I would tap would feel his love. And he asked me to put my hands there too, and he said a prayer that anybody who that wand would touch would know the gift of life. And then he surprised me. He addressed God. He said, God, if you are real, we've got some things to work out, but please bless this girl, and thanks for bringing her into my life. He and I both made a lot of shifts in that conversation. Since then, that wand has been broken and repaired, and the stem is now a metal piece from a hanging file folder frame, and it's held onto the star with a piece of bamboo and twine and glitter nail polish to tie it all together. I carried it around for years. I made a holster for it, or a quiver, whatever goes with my dress, you know. And I was a full-time fairy godmother for 7 years or so. I prided myself on not owning a stitch of normal clothes. I wore ball gowns every day, even to my job as an office manager at a small software company. You can get away with stuff like that in Seattle. So that's the day I became a fairy godmother. A fairy godmother is a pretty powerful archetype. She knows you. She's been with you all along. She knows you deserve your chance. She knows you're a brilliant being, even if nobody else seems to see it. The real you has been covered up in rags, but she waves her magic wand, and you find yourself the luminous being of light that you always thought you were, but you weren't quite sure because no one else seemed to recognize it. To be seen and recognized, to be with people is a human need. We're social animals. Our autopilot mammal brains see signs that were accepted or not accepted as important data related to our survival. So no wonder we love to be appreciated and accepted, and we hate to feel misunderstood and judged and criticized and rejected. I think that's why we have these two dueling self-images. There's that awkward, humiliating mess self. I hope that one's not true. And there's the expansive, amazing little piece of God self. I love it when I think that one's true. If our goal is mindful action, I think the polarity between these dueling self-images is important to be aware of, because I think it's what snags us a lot of the time. Let me explain. I've been in a lot of fear and sadness lately about the polarization going on in our world. People casting each other as the enemy, or just talking past each other in huge ways. And when I try to pinpoint the exact spot where the major worldview misunderstandings happen, a lot has to do with identity. People are saying, "How dare you say that about me and my people?" And oftentimes that's not what's being said. Why do people seem so eager to misread other people to be saying something that's the most hurtful possible interpretation? Well, it's because we're wired that way. We're wired to notice anything resembling a potential threat to our survival. The kinds of situations I'm talking about, psychology calls social threats. Have you ever heard of Murphy's laws of communication? One of them is that if your message can be interpreted in several ways, it will be interpreted in the way that causes the most damage. So, gosh, it would be better if nobody cared what anybody thought. Except that it wouldn't, because everything's on a spectrum. You know, if you didn't care at all what anybody thought, then you wouldn't really care how you affect them, and you wouldn't have much of a moral compass or conscience. And if you care too much what other people think, well, then you're just miserable. So how do you get to care what other people think just the right amount? Well, it helps if you know who you are, so you're not taking so many cues from others. Earlier, I called it a polarity between dueling self-images, but everything's on a spectrum, and I have to point that out because I don't think it'll work to tell you you're not the bad one, you're the good one. You're all rainbows and unicorns, and anyone who tells you different is just wrong. That doesn't work. You know you have work to do. There's really a spectrum of self-images. I'll call them the sniveling runt, the shadow side, the little slice of heaven, and the delusions of grandeur. Am I the sniveling runt? No. Do I have a shadow side that I need to get real about? Yep. Am I an amazing individuation of God? Why, yes, I am. Am I a real fairy godmother who's so powerful I can see into your soul and I can grant all your wishes? Not really. Dang it. But if I do earn my wings, I'll let you know. If you're going to shift before you create, usually shifting into a grounded, realistic sense of who you are is a big part of it. If you think you're worthless, you'll either create more of that experience, or you'll be desperate for validation. Or if you have a messiah complex and somebody points out the booger hanging out from your nose, then you'll have a total crisis of faith. I've been listening to Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, and he's been talking about doing that deep healing work cleaning up those scars, and recognizing that your deepest identity is that of a powerful emanation of God, and you'll eventually get to the point where a lot of stuff doesn't even bother you anymore. You don't get offended. They're not even talking about you. They're talking about themselves. They're describing their worldview, and it just doesn't have much to do with you because you're too busy standing in the truth to be bothered. I think the image of scar tissue that he used is really apt. It's a useful metaphor to describe the difference between mindful actions and autopilot actions, because the hallmark difference is flexibility, and scar tissue loses its flexibility. That was very poetic, but I wasn't certain it was true, so I looked it up just to make sure I wasn't lying to you. And the metaphor goes deeper. Here's what I found. As part of the body's repair process, new protein fibers replace the injured tissue and a scar is formed. Unlike the original tissue, however, the new fibers align themselves in a random, mismatched formation, much like a new game of pickup sticks. This results in a reduced flexibility and affects the sensory feedback in that area. So when old wounds are triggered, there's a mismatch between our thinking and the present moment situation. Our thinking is less flexible and less responsive to new feedback, just like scar tissue. So that's why when we find ourselves triggered, it's really beneficial to be able to notice that so we can shift before we create. Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron calls it being snagged. She even says, the Buddhist idea of being attached is often confusing, and she says, it's really just being snagged by a situation into your autopilot mode. She recommends saying to yourself, if I take action now when I feel this way, I will probably create more situations and reasons for me to keep feeling more of this way. Is that what I want? I've used that on several occasions. So here we are, experiencing a remarkable time in our history. Things are changing, and it's not always comfortable. But every crisis is an opportunity for awakening, right? Will it happen? My friend dared to wish for what seemed impossible, a cure for AIDS, because they always find a cure, right? I dare to wish for what seems impossible, a cure for hate. Will it happen? We're always moving toward a more compassionate society, right? I think it'll happen, but only if we realize that the we that is always moving toward a more compassionate society is us. And the they that always finds a cure, that's us. When we were children, we were dependent on this mysterious they that always seemed to have a solution for everything. But it's our turn to be they. It's a big responsibility. So we might want to be extra careful to shift before we create. Last week, my husband was at work. He drives a city bus, and he met an interesting passenger. This man said, "My grandfather taught me something." He said, "My grandfather had a lot of bad experiences in the war, and he told me, don't ever make room in your heart for those people. But my father taught me a different lesson. He said, if you don't make room in your heart for those people, it hurts you. And right now, we have so many people angry and they're thinking horrible things about each other, but it's just something their grandfather told them." Our habitual trauma-based thoughts are kind of like the voice of that grandfather. There's a bad experience and a story, and you just keep retelling the same story. But this grandson recognized a chance to shift when his father pointed out another possibility. Watching your thoughts is actually part of the training at Utah Transit Authority, where my husband works. They train bus drivers to watch their thoughts about passengers. So for example, if you're driving up to a bus stop and there's a couple of passengers there and they look as if they might have just stepped out of a New Year's Eve party, a little boisterous and fluid on their feet. And your first thought might be, oh boy, here comes trouble. But they say, let that thought pass by and replace it with another one. Think, oh boy, there's some nice people who need a ride. And you're probably going to have a better experience. when we change our thinking, it makes subtle differences in our actions that we might not even be aware of, and that can add up to a big change in our experience. So the trick is to catch your thoughts and remember that there are other possible thoughts to think. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. So that when you act and you do so mindfully, knowing that your come from and your actions will create what comes next. And I'd like to end by singing a song that I wrote. The song lets you listen in on a conversation in which two people are sincerely seeking to understand each other. This is the kind of conversation that happens in my ideal world. Both characters start out being defensive, feeling that the other's expression of hurt is a personal attack on their identity. And then they have an aha moment about needing to question some of their own thinking. They shift and take a different approach with each other. The problem still exists. They can't help that they have incompatible worldviews, but they adopt an attitude of non-defensive honesty, willingness to understand, and appreciation for one another. And that creates a relationship that can move forward. And all of that in a 3-minute song. Pastor Rick Warren talks about how you don't always have to resolve everything in order to reconcile. Reconciling just means you carry no more hard feelings. This song is called The Atheist and the Christian, but the same kind of conversation could be had between two people of any competing worldviews, or mismatch, I should say, of worldviews. It's the kind of honest conversation I'd love to see more of in the world. And
how can you say that I don't respect you? I treat you well, I think of you highly. I don't even hold it against you. You're brainwashed enough to believe in the Bible.
wait.
Maybe you're right, maybe I judge you, but just in this way, and it's hard to say. We sure are different, I don't always get you. Doesn't this suck? But you know I still love you. I hate that this hurts you, but I'd rather be honest than distant between you and me. Teach me to know you, I promise I'll try. And if I don't agree, I still want you in my life.
How can you say that I don't respect you? I treat you well, I treat you kindly. I don't even hold it against you. You're so hard-hearted, you can't hear God's promptings. Wait. Maybe you're right, maybe I judge you just in this way. It's hard to say. We sure are different, I don't always get you. Doesn't this suck? But you know I still love you. I hate that this hurts you, but I'd rather be honest than distant between you and me. Teach me to know you, I promise I'll try. And if I don't agree, I still want you in my life. Your path has led you away from mine. I love you so much, I just want you to find the best kind of life where you're happy and free. And if I am wrong, won't you please miss you, but I'd rather be honest than distance between you and me. Teach me to know you, I promise I'll try. And if I don't agree,
It's just how life shows up to me.
just know I still love you to be right here in my life.
So let's move into prayer. At Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living, we practice affirmative prayer. That means I'll speak what I recognize for myself, and if those words ring true to you, I invite you to make those your words. So bringing myself fully into this present moment, becoming aware of my breath and my body, this room, this life. I remember that life is one integrated phenomena. There's only one thing happening here. And in the back of this life, the ground of all being, animating all life, is a divine mind that knows just what it's doing, working all things together for the highest good of all. I am part of that divine mind, an individuation of it, and yet indivisible with it, a co-creator. Knowing this, I steward my thoughts and actions carefully, aligning them with my intention. With each passing day, I get better and better at noticing my thoughts, noticing the thousands of little choice points throughout the day, big and small. Every action I take emerges from knowing my oneness with all and serves the highest good. I know that humanity is always progressing toward a more compassionate society. I know that as we continue to heal our old emotional scar tissue, we think more flexibly and love more graciously. As we individually and collectively realize that we live and move and have our very being in love itself, we just keep making the tapestry of life more beautiful by finding new ways to create harmony in diversity. Affirming these things, I'm not only reminding myself, but I'm instructing my subconscious mind, and I'm expressing my intention into the law of divine mind, which is always at work organizing the unfolding of life to support my growth and give wings to the divine desires of my heart. When I take action, I'm supported. When I rest, I'm supported. I don't need to figure it all out. Just participate in the unfolding and rest in the knowing that the process is at work. I take a moment to feel my gratitude. Please join me in saying, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I give. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We are so very blessed. Thank you, Chamaigne, for that incredible sharing and talk and the beautiful song, you and Rick. Thank you. That was just, I cried a lot. All right, so now this is the time in our service for our conscious giving, which in our center is one of our spiritual practices. Giving is something that we do for our own spiritual health and well-being. We recognize the blessings that have come to us as part of the divine flow of good. And in gratitude, we keep that flow going by sharing what we have with our spiritual center so that it might continue to bless us and remind us of the truth of who we are. We understand that some of you are experiencing financial difficulties right now, and we just are knowing with you that that turns around quickly. For those of you who are still able to contribute, please know that at this time, your contributions to our center mean even more than ever. So thank you for continuing to support the work that we do here. Thank you. So I invite you right now in the spirit of gratitude for the gifts that are in your life to bring into your mind and your heart, your giving, as we speak together our giving blessing, knowing the truth of these words. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be, and so it is.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. I've been set free and released. I've been set free and released. The burden of my past has gone away at last. I've been set free and released. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me.
Let's hear some more from the delightful Lorraine Horstmanshoff.
You're all so awesome, everybody here. I love it. I love to be inspired. I'm really thrilled that my shirt matches Charmaine's. I went through a few shirts this morning. I'm like, oh, I haven't worn. Look at this. Isn't that cool? That's right. This is a really awesome song by Cat Stevens that I'm probably going to embellish on. If you want to sing out, sing out. And if you want to be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million ways to be. You know that there are. And if you want to be high, be high. And if you want to be low, be low. 'Cause there's a million ways to go. You know that there are. You can make it anew. The opportunity's on. You can make it undo. Oh, it's easy. Oh, it's easy. magic wand, wave your magic wand, 'cause there's a million of things to do. You know that there are. And if you wanna say yes, say yes. And if you wanna say no, say no. 'Cause there's a million of ways to go. You know that there are. And if you wanna sing out, sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million ways to go. You know that there are. And if you wanna be a bee. If you wanna be nothing, be nothing. 'Cause you know everything's a little something. You know that it is. You can make it anew. The opportunity's on. You can make it undo. Oh, it's easy. Oh, it's easy. You only need to know. Okay, sing with me. If you wanna sing out, sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million ways to be. You know that there are. And if you wanna be high, be high. And if you wanna be low, be low. 'Cause there's a million ways to go. You know that there are. You know that there are. You know that there are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings to everyone out there.
Was that the perfect song for my story or what? Yay.
Awesome. What a blessed day. Lorraine, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your gifts. Boy, you have a lot of gifts. And thank you, Chamaigne. That was wonderful. Just wonderful.
Thank you.
I got a preview, and that was even better than the preview. Bless you all. We wish you well. We wish you prosperity and freedom and health and wholeness. Wish you comfort even. We wish you safety. We wish you love. I hope you have a wonderful end of the month of June, and that you look forward in some way, some remarkable way, to next month and the life ahead of you. Shift before you create it. Let's sing our closing song. This is Seed to Sow. So we have this wonderful lot of seeds that we were given us today. So let's plant some. Seed to sow. Everybody has got a seed to sow.
Some people quietly reveal in the manner of the meek. Some people shout the way they feel to a radical degree. Sometimes it's me. But let me tell you about one thing I know. Everybody's got a seed to sow. Let your heart of hearts take you down the road. Everybody's got a seed to sow. Everybody's got a seed to sow. Some people sing it to its another call. Some people speak with subtleness, some don't rely